This fan-run podcast is brought to you by DraftKings.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of March Madness. Bet $4 on any underdog and win $256 if they win. It's that simple. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code FANRUN in all caps when you sign up to turn $4 into $256 for a limited time and only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
We kick off hour number 2. It's brought to you by the Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. Check them out online at tvacreditunion.com and become a member. They got you covered for all your banking needs. The official credit union of 3 and Outs, the Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union. Captain Touchback wants to know, do people use UCLA as a reason to expand the tourney field even more? No, there's got to be a punishment for having a bad season. So, like, if you're not quite as good as UCLA this year during the regular season, too bad. You should have been better. Just because a team could win the national championship if they were allowed into the playoff doesn't mean they should be allowed in. Like, there might be some football teams ranked 5 through 8 in the past few years that maybe, who knows, they'd have gotten, played well in 3 games, could have won the national championship. They got left out. You'll never know. Could have happened. In some bizarro world, could have been I don't know, could have been an SEC team ranked 7th or something that already lost to Alabama that could have beaten them in a semi or something. Who knows? Or whatever. Could have, beaten the 2 seed and then. But there's got to be, there's got to be some punishment for having a really crappy year, right? Mm-hmm. In basketball, there's plenty of room to get in. So I would hope not, Captain Touchback, but I understand the question. All right. I think Tennessee's main problem outside of, we've documented the issues from a game management standpoint that typically kind of happen, but just from a player personnel standpoint, when you watch any of these teams that are winning right now, they have guys that can just go on a scoring binge. They have guys that can just put the ball in the basket. Tennessee didn't have that player this year. We never could figure out who the go-to player was. Early in the year, I was like, well, I guess it still has to be John Fulkerson. And there were times where they'd play through Fulkerson, and maybe he wouldn't, go off for 30, but by playing through him, he would then, it would create opportunities for the other guys, and the team played okay on offense, especially against some really bad teams. But as the season wore along, he kind of went into a slump mid-year. The teams you play got better. Everybody gets better throughout the season except for Tennessee. And, you watch UCLA last night. They couldn't score at all to start the game. But then Juzang just got hot. He hit a few threes to get himself started. And then, I watched the 9-minute highlight package this morning. I wish I had those 9 minutes back now once I was, caught in that traffic.
Yep.
But I watched the 9-minute highlight package of the game, the replay of the game, where they kind of show you all the big buckets. And, once he got going with a few threes early, then he got hot from 2. He got hot around the basket. He was 4 or 5 from the line. And, they only had 2 players in double figures, but one of their guys scored 28, and they played incredible defense and won the basketball game. Pretty wild. It was Jaime the other day that went off. Mm-hmm. He only had 4 in this game. Their point guard can go off too. Tennessee has 3 5-star players on this team, none of which are scorers. Keon became a go-to guy in some games, but Tennessee was having to post him up. And you just never got the feeling that okay, Keon Johnson's about to score 14 points in this half of basketball and carry us to a win. It just, I mean,
just kind of random.
I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, I guess you can make the argument, well, it'd be better if you were like Gonzaga, where the points just come out of offense and just anybody can score at any moment. And I think that's what Barnes was trying to work towards. But I don't know if any of the guys on this Tennessee team are that good to where they can do that. Admiral Schofield was that good at getting a bucket. He could just get one anytime. He could get his shot anytime he wanted.
Grant, too.
And obviously, yeah, you could play through Grant Williams. He passed the ball well when they tried to double. He could score on anybody one-on-one. I mean, I feel like Bone could go by anybody at any moment. Whether he could finish off the play at the rim was always the question for Bone, but he could get there. This team has had 3 5-star guys, none of which could just take over a game. And, you know, I don't know if that's a misevaluation by Tennessee in recruiting, if that's the way that they coach them to play offense, or both. I think it's some of both. I mean, Josiah James is not a scorer.
No.
And it's fine if
he's going to fill the stat sheet, just not with 20 points.
Well, and he's not going to get the shot for himself. Like, you can't.
Yeah, he's going to occasionally knock down a three, occasionally hit a mid-range, and get some putbacks around the rim.
I mean, watch the Baylor guards, the UCLA guards, and the Houston guards, especially. Oh, I mean, really, Gonzaga too. Like, they create angles constantly, and mostly using the ball screen. Tennessee don't run any ball screens compared to these teams. So, like, I don't know. Tennessee's playing an outdated style of basketball with guys that can't score. At least guys that can't score against good competition. I mean, yeah, they put up 100 points against, you know, Sisters of the Poor, but once it mattered, you couldn't score. And that's been a Rick Barnes MO all the way back to Texas. Well, Warren did a great job breaking that down. Rick Barnes' best Texas teams still did not score at a high clip. They played great defense. They rarely turned it over, and they won all the offensive rebound categories. And, well, both rebounding categories, but specifically got a lot of extra shots on offense.
Well, hopefully, you know, with possibly two new assistant coaches coming in, it forces Rick to change, because those new ideas will be floating in.
Hopefully he hires guys that don't just agree with him.
And I mean,
yes, man.
I mean, I'm watching the highlight right now. It's 48-47 with a minute to go, and you know what UCLA does for a bucket is Juzang gets the ball on the wing after they've run some offense, and it's just ISO. He just takes his guy baseline, hits a floater to put him up 3. I mean, that was maybe the shot of the game. I mean, obviously Michigan had multiple chances to win it, down 2 with 2 different 3-pointers. But, yeah. I mean, that's money time, and we don't have any money players.
Well, we're going to have spots to fill, because we're losing, 6?
Yeah, maybe that changes with
maybe more.
By getting a point guard, you know, by getting a guy that can go.
Either attack or create for everyone else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the Baylor guy's name that transferred from did he transfer from Auburn, or I got the wrong kid?
I don't know. Sorry.
No, Gonzaga. Is it? No, I'm thinking of the Florida kid. Was it Newhart?
Yeah, the Florida kid's at Gonzaga.
Nemhart, and then Baylor, it's Davion Mitchell. He transferred from Auburn.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an Auburn. I didn't know that.
Yeah. God, he's tough to guard. I mean,
got to go get in that transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, you got transfers leading all these teams. I mean, it's a whole thing. In KenPom, now that the dust is settled, the Final Four is set. I mean, if this doesn't tell you better become an offensive team, I don't know what does. I mean, Gonzaga is first on offense, 5th in defense. Obviously, they're a historic level of team KenPom era. Billy Wilford was letting me know last night he believed Gonzaga on one of these metrics was the best team ever in the KenPom era. Might be it's pretty good. I don't know what this is. They're adjusted. I'm sure he'll let me know. They're adjusted efficiency margin, maybe. Best ever. Baylor is 3rd on offense, 28 in defense. Houston, 7 offense, 7th best offense, 8th best defense. Michigan was 9-4, 9th and 4th. Illinois was 8th and 9th. USC was 14th and 7th. Iowa was 2nd in offense and 76th in defense. I mean, really, Alabama was the first team that was way better on defense than offense. So you had to get to 9th and 10th in the rankings to get to Alabama and Loyola Chicago. Now that teams are out, UCLA for the season is 13th offense, 45th defense. So Mick Cronin might be a big defensive guy, but this UCLA team has done it as much with their offense as their defense this year. There's not a team in the top. There's not a team outside the top 50 on offense in the KenPom rankings until you get to Tennessee. Tennessee now 27th in KenPom's rankings. They were 85th in the country in offense. They were 6th on defense. So, I mean, that offense has got to be –
it needs an overhaul. I just don't know if we're going to get that.
It needs to be – I mean, you got to be top 20 in adjusted offense to have a shot. To be a Final Four team.
Right.
And, I mean, that is the expectation, right? I mean, when you pay your coach top 5 money, you want a Final Four at some point during their tenure.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird to say expect it, but, I think those are the expectations.
I mean, how long has he been here so far? 6 years?
This was his 6th?
It was 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's here, what do we think? 10 to 15 years? Do we think that's going to be his shelf life at Tennessee? Between 10 and 15, maybe?
You think he's got 4 years left, at least?
I don't know. I was just kind of guessing. 9 to 12? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say 9 to 12. I'd say 3 to 6 more years.
So, I mean, if you're paying a guy top 5 money and he has, 15 plus years at a school, and he said phase 1's complete, now it's I mean, yeah, I think don't do bad math and say, well, Nate, if he's 5th in money, why would you ever expect a Final Four? Well, because you get a chance every year. It's not it's not like you only get one shot, so he should be 5th. I mean, you get a shot every year. You get to recycle your guys, and he's getting.
Well, even that's still an Elite 8.
Right? Yeah, we haven't really, we haven't done that with him. No,
haven't played for a Final Four yet.
Yeah, there was a game going on.
I mean,
Saturday or Sunday. It was. I can't remember what game it was, and I had to turn to my wife and say, I mean, this is a game Tennessee's only been in once, and this team is in it. It was kind of like, golly, it was sobering, I guess.
Well, and I mean, Mick Cronin doing it in 2 years?
Oh, yeah. Final Four.
I mean, just got to get the right guys, and it can happen. You got to figure it out. I mean, you got 6 spots. Well, technically, I guess it's what? Because you got Meshack, Chandler. Is that it in this class? Is it just 2?
Yes.
So you've got 4 spots now that you can go fill throughout the transfer portal. I know they've talked about Tamba, Edwards, and what is it, Hunter Hatfield? Is that right? Hunter Hatfield?
Huntley Hatfield.
Huntley Hatfield, yeah. I mean, they might reclassify, but that's still 1 or 2 spots. And that attrition may not be over for this team. So, yeah, I think you got to retool. The whole got to have a big man. I hate that. I disagree with that.
I'm looking at the highest paid coaches in college basketball. And outside of, kind of surprised with 9 and 10. At 9, you got Buzz Williams at Texas A&M, and at 10, you got Fred Hoiberg with Nebraska. But when it comes to accomplishments, you got Cal at number 1, Coach K at number 2, Jay Wright at number 3, Chris Beard at number 4. All those people have been the top 3 have won national titles. Chris Beard got that extension after making the national title. Then you got Rick Barnes at 5, followed by Roy Williams, who's won multiple national titles. Tom Izzo at Michigan State at 7.
How are these ranked?
This is just the USA Today coach pay update.
Oh, this is okay by pay. I missed that. My bad.
Sorry, yeah. I was just kind of going back to
because
we were talking about where he was, and then Bruce Pearl comes in at 8, and I told you Williams and Hoiberg round out the top 10.
I feel like Mark Few's going to get a raise.
Yeah. That seems like a safe bet at this point, doesn't it?
I feel like he should be up there in the top 10 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you say in the break? 5 straight?
30 win seasons.
Yeah.
5 straight 30.
I mean, they do get the West Coast Conference bump, but still,
Sure.
just to be that consistent.
Mm-hmm. It's impressive.
Yeah.
They should pay him. I mean, he's a lifer. And he's basically elevated them to blue blood status at this point.
Is it just because they play so smooth? You know, you were talking about big men or something, and I was like, I wonder how big Gonzaga is. And then I go and check. It's like, oh, well,
No, I mean, Timmy's got to be close to 7 foot,
he's
right?
6'10".
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they've got they got one freshman 7-footer. He doesn't really play, though. But, I mean, that's their next tallest guy that plays a lot, though, is 6'7". And they got a kid that's 6'8". So, I mean, basically, from a size standpoint, this year's Tennessee team was bigger than this Gonzaga team. So, like, get out of here with the whole got to have a big man thing. I mean, it's just, you know, it's idiotic. We'll come back. We'll hit a break. We'll get to the phone lines on the flip side. Stick with us right here on 3 and Out.
From where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Welcome back. 3 and Out continues here. Hour number 2. 865-546-8200 is the number to join the program. We have Roberto up next. What's up, Berto? You're on 3 and Out.
Fun Roberto aside, little side note about me. If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I probably wouldn't have got married a long time ago, because I met the missus at the Cotton Eye Joe. Did you guys know this?
No.
No.
Classic Berto.
That's an all-timer, man.
Hey, man, every day I tell my kids, you know, I met your mom at a bar. You know. So,
You tell your kids that every day.
It's funny. I was a lifer. I was a Joe's lifer. Were you guys? Did you ever go to the Cotton Eye Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Word out, Berto. Sunday night.
Did you?
I don't know why it was Sunday night, but it was Sunday night.
Sunday night was college night, man. It was free
Okay.
entry. That's why.
Well, I know that. I mean, I knew that for me, but I didn't know that was, you know.
Do you know they used to do free beer on Fridays at the Cotton Eye Joe in Cookeville?
No.
Really?
Yeah. Went there one time. The group of guys I went with and the group of girls we went with, one of the guys got his face knocked in and then got mad at me because he was being a jerk and I let him get his face knocked in.
I just remember
Like
the girls
that's,
got in
called-
free on Sunday night,
Mm-hmm.
which, you know, we like.
I'm sure the girls got in free most nights. You know what I'm saying?
That meant, you know. Yeah. No, we would we'd come back from a road trip all weekend and then still go to Cotton Eye Joe's and close it down at 3 a.m. and then somehow get up for class on Monday
Attaboy.
morning.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, as far as Rick Barnes is concerned, did you just? I want to make sure I heard this correctly. He's the third highest paid coach in America, correct?
Wait, he's third?
Third,
I thought he was
Davey?
fifth. He's fifth.
Fifth? Okay.
He's been
my
passed
phone-
by a couple. Yeah.
Okay, but still, all the guys around him are essentially national championship level coaches, right?
Most definitely.
I have always theorized this, and I want you guys to just weigh in on my conspiracy, because there's some hints that this kind of did actually happen amongst the athletic department employees. Basically, I've always theorized that the big money, the reason Rick Barnes got paid so much, was the big money kind of Pontius piloted Philip Fulmer, not Rick Barnes. Okay, follow me down this rabbit hole. And basically, like, yeah, go make whatever offer you want, make a ridiculous offer so it looks good. And then they were hoping that Philip Fulmer would hamstring himself, you know, by not being able to pull Rick Barnes back in, even though he made him a ridiculous offer. And then Rick Barnes decided to stay. You ever heard this theory
No.
kicked around?
I
Yeah, it's been kicked around at a higher level than me, for sure.
Fascinating.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what people say inside the athletic department. And I was surprised when I heard it too. But can you guys imagine the train wreck Philip Fulmer would have been trying to hire a basketball coach?
Oh, God.
That's a good point. I guess we should be.
We did, yeah. We
should be happy. We just kept Rick Barnes.
Rick might underachieve, but God knows what Fulmer would have done. Oh Lord.
The only thing Fulmer could have done that would have been magnificent was go hire Steve Forbes, and I did hear that he and Forbes had an awesome relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't have been so bad.
No. Steve Forbes is a good coach. Now, I think they were very underwhelming at Wake Forest this year, correct?
Yeah, they weren't very good.
That was bad.
Yeah. I don't know, but Wake Forest is definitely not where Tennessee is right now. Tennessee is where Wake Forest was, Tim Duncan 20 years ago, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Well, guys, in closing, and I appreciate the time, it's just, how fun would it be to be fun? Like, we can't be fun at anything. I mean, we as a fan base are so thirsty for any kind of a winner. We've latched on to a baseball team. Don't hear me being negative there, okay? I love Vitello. I think you pay that man. You give him his facilities. I've said it for 2 years, and you guys can back this. He is the best coach on campus in his given sport, period, end of sentence. Like, I genuinely believe that. Give that man what he wants. Let's get behind the baseball team. But how fun would it be to be fun? Look how much fun we're having watching a baseball team be dominant. We would be so, if we're ever good again, don't ever let us be good again. We will be so obnoxious in football and so obnoxious in basketball. Don't ever let us be good again. Because if we are, this fan base will go crazy because we have watched slop for 20 years. Guys, have a great day.
Thanks, Berto. Appreciate it. Yes. I mean, I feel like we're not – I mean, next year could be the year for basketball. It's not going to be the year for football. And by that I'm saying, playoff type, win your conference. But I don't think we're that far off in basketball. I mean, it's basketball, so you're always only like 2 or 3 players away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse in basketball because this year really means nothing in basketball for next year. Like, how good Keon and Jaden were this year doesn't impact next year at all. So there's no building in basketball. I mean, maybe you get a 2-year or a 3-year build with, like, maybe half your starting lineup. Like you get a kid who in his second or third year or his 4th year in the program, but only his second year really playing meaningful minutes, like kind of builds. But really, you still kind of want half or at least 2 of your starting 5 to kind of be 1 and done or 2 and – I mean, you don't want to start – you're not going to win at a super high level with 5 guys who are all 4-year seniors. Like, you're just not. If they've had to take that long to develop, then you've really rolled the dice and you're probably going to miss on some and then end up with a team that maybe it makes the tournament, but it can't really do anything because you don't have enough high-end talent.
Right.
So it's good. It means you can go from, like 2 years ago, Tennessee was not going to make the tournament to this past year. We thought they had the potential to go to the Final Four. So those swings can happen. You can go from final, but the other way is also true. You can go from Final Four caliber team to not making the tournament if you kind of whiff on the whole recruiting class. Luckily for Tennessee, as you mentioned, you got 2 players that are, blue chip guys in this class, and then you got to get some work done at other places. Because basically, Tennessee's already let it be known that some of the guys that they thought would be those 3- and 4-year developmental guys are not cutting it, and they're out. So Gaines and Pember are gone. Springer's already announced he's gone. We're waiting on Keon Johnson to probably do the same.
Yeah.
You got Kennedy Chandler and
Meshack.
How do you say his first name?
Jemai,
I
I think.
That looks right. Jemai Meshack from California coming in. Kenny Chandler's at Sunrise Christian in Wichita, Kansas. 5-star. Meshack's a high 4-star. Small forward, 6'5", 190. So you got those 2 studs coming in, but I mean, if you're – and then what about, like, Fulkerson, Pons? I mean, Pons is gone, right? And then –
yeah.
And then Fulkerson, we don't have a timeline even on that, right? But
I mean, Senior Day made it seem like he's gone. I don't –
yeah.
But with the way his season kind of ended –
maybe that's
I think there's a chance
I
think there's a chance he could come back.
Tennessee all-time commits list, Kennedy Chandler is third behind Tobias Harris and Scotty Hobson. Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson were fourth and fifth. So to be better than this past year's team, Chandler needs to live up to that hype.
Mm-hmm.
Meshack needs to be really good, and you've got to find some other guys that are better than the guys you lost.
I mean, those guys are out there.
Yeah,
the transfer portal is loaded if you don't want to go and try to get, a freshman
right,
or a reclassification.
And if you're really good at identifying who's going to blow up and use a greener pasture and a reset and a Rick Barnes offseason development to elevate their game, like UCLA guy did last night. I mean, scored double figures twice for Kentucky all season, and then in the biggest game of the year, Johnny Juzang goes for 28 and single-handedly carried UCLA to the Final Four. So you got to find that guy, and no one's gonna know who it is right now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, is Kennedy Chandler a scorer or is he just a distributor?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I thought he was kind of both. That's why he's rated so highly. I'm trying to remember the last time I looked at his film. It's been a while. But
I mean, he's super fast.
I mean, we need
good handles. He's a little short.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like 6'1". But if he can get a shot up, I don't care.
No.
But they need a dynamic scorer. Like you were saying, like that guy, like, hey, it's money time. We need a bucket. Who can just create for themselves and go get one?
Well, maybe he's good enough to run a bunch of ball screens for him, and he can score and create. Because you got to play through somebody, and in the NCAA tournament, usually it's guards that you want at least as your igniter. I'll watch some. I got a highlight pulled up here. I'll watch it next 3 minutes. We'll be right back.
Come with me now.
Welcome back into the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios Fan Run Radio. Pick up some White Claw Hard Seltzer this week. Get set for the Final Four. It's UCLA and Gonzaga. That's the late game. The battle for Texas is the early one with Houston and Baylor. Both games Saturday, of course. National championship game Monday night. I watched a little Kennedy Chandler there in the break.
What do you think?
I mean, he's looking to score in these highlights.
Well, he's one of the best players in the country. I would hope he'd do that at his high school team.
So, I mean...
That wasn't a knock on you. Just glad he's looking to score.
He gets to the basket. He even hit one mid-range jumper, and he knocked down some threes, too. And they even showed him tracking a play from behind and just... Dude laid it up off the glass, and as it's coming down, he just jumps up and goaltends it away. I mean, clearly. But
he got up there.
I think it was a show his leaping ability. Good passer, too.
Mm-hmm.
Shows him, Obviously, it's hard to know. When I watch some of these guards that no one can keep in front of them on these teams that have played in the Elite Eight, it's really hard to tell whether a guy in high school has that type of burst, that type of, just get by you, because they all look like they do in high school because the high school defenders are so much slower. They just don't have the foot speed.
Just not as good.
So I think that might be the hardest thing to tell, and that's something that when they go to like the NBA combine, they can test that type of stuff, but I don't know how well you're able to really know any of that in high school. I guess that's why you try and watch as many different types of games and matchups as possible, and you want to see these guys against the best competition. You want to see them on the AAU circuit.
Well, he played IMG, right? He was at IMG for a stretch. I don't know if that's where he finished up.
No, he played at Briarcrest up until this past year, in which he transferred to some academy in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, Trinity Christian. The Saints.
Maybe that's the academy I was thinking of. So it wasn't IMG. My bad. Yeah, Bel Air, Kansas, Sunrise Christian. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn.
Or you think they played against IMG? Maybe they did that.
Yeah, they did. Briarcrest did play against IMG last year. It was Kennedy Chandler versus Jaden Springer. The game sold out, and Briarcrest ended up winning.
So there you go. Maybe that's what you're.
Who did Springer play? Springer played for IMG. Okay,
Yep.
that was it. My bad. Springer, Chandler, just a mishap. That's on me. That's E1. I'm sorry. Is he the guy? Be nice if he was.
Yeah.
6'1", 165. He's a
He
little
is
guy.
tiny.
I mean,
6'1", tiny. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Right. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Davey, are you prepared for today's Depot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I'm prepared.
You are?
What's so funny about that question?
I was actually looking up something for the depot.
Oh. I'm excited to see what that might be,
It was
I
funny.
think.
It was funny in my mind.
The movie you're reviewing today is funny.
Yeah, but it was just something on top of that. I do want to say tomorrow I've had a request for a baseball movie, seeing as opening days tomorrow. So
Have you decided what you're going with?
We did Signs. Signs had a nice baseball time.
I wasn't happy with yesterday's performance. So I'll have to be better today.
Why?
Yeah. Pick it up, buddy.
What's wrong with yesterday's performance?
I'm not sorry for my performance. I'm just not happy with it.
What are you
You
doing?
haven't
Stop with that
decided
sound.
which baseball movie?
I think I'm going to do Rookie of the Year. Shawnee requested it
Okay. Rookie of the Year
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Couldn't tell you the last time I saw the movie.
Perfect. So Gonzaga's supposed to beat UCLA, according to Kim Palm, 83-71. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's pretty nuts.
I mean, okay. So a beatdown is what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm telling you.
That's what I thought. Yep.
Let's see. Baylor is favored to beat Houston 72-71.
Ooh.
That's a lot tighter than I thought it would be.
But Houston's good. We discussed this.
Yes.
They get no credit.
Yes, Houston is good, gets no credit. They are 7th best in the country in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're 8th in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. They are. Is this right? Houston is 328th in the country in adjusted tempo.
Did you say 328?
Yeah.
Did they play that slow?
I didn't think so. But maybe. I don't know. Gonzaga is 6th.
Which is weird. I mean, watching them play, I don't necessarily think they're playing that fast. Maybe that's just because they get so many good shots.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's how fast you shoot, right? I mean, that's how many possessions. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is right. UCLA is 338. Houston is 328. Gonzaga is 6th. And Baylor, where are you, Baylor? Is 186th. So much for the playing fast gets you to the Final Four. We talked about you grind it. Teams, you got to grind it out in the tournament, and the two teams people didn't pick to be there are slower paced teams. Although I think I just got a
Yeah, but
bias.
they're good at it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously that's the point. I guess it felt like Houston was getting up and down against somebody I was watching them against. So maybe I just kind of recency bias on that front. Slowest team in the country all year for this season.
Okay.
Virginia.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are we the second slowest?
Oh, no. We're
No.
way
I'm
up
just
there.
giving us a hard time. That's all. Don't worry
We
about it.
were. Sorry, I'm having to scroll through all the other Tennessees. Tennessee Tech, Tennessee Martin.
Mm-hmm. Don't hurt yourself.
We were 231.
I mean, that's still not good, Nate. Based on personnel.
Yeah, I feel like we would have been better playing faster. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean.
It's weird. Okay, so these are SEC teams in terms of in order of tempo. South Carolina, 3rd in the country, which is why I put 93 points on their ass.
Yep. That.
Alabama was 11th. Georgia was 13th. Arkansas was 19th. Auburn 55th. LSU 70th. Then Vanderbilt, Missouri, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. We were 11th in the conference.
Brutal.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, we're behind you. So there you go. Final segment. Are we depoting next? You got plenty of time, right? Or do you want to go? No, let's put you up against it. Let's depot it next. Final segment, hour number 2. It's time for the Davey Depot. Take it away, Davey Hudson.
Today's fact of the day. Theodore Roosevelt, who was president,
Nicknamed Teddy.
had a pet hyena. I did not know that. The hyena was named Bill. Was a present from the Ethiopian emperor.
Ed?
The more you know. Roosevelt was also famous
Bill?
for his name of the hyena. For his many pets, he actually also had a one-legged rooster, a badger, a pony, and a small bear. I mean, Teddy was known for his conservation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so more you know.
All right.
Gambling update last night. Took a little bit of a step back. The pick I gave was the Clippers -10. I felt really good. I actually fell asleep at halftime. Clippers were up 14. I wake up. They somehow lost to one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, I hate to see it. But tonight we're going with, for hockey, Minnesota, money line. Last time they're playing San Jose again. They lost 4-3 in a shootout. Might have been 5-4. Either way, they lost in a shootout. It was very, very closely contested game. But I think, actually took the over in that game 2 nights ago. But tonight I'm going with Minnesota money line. They lost a close one. I expect them to bounce back. They are better than San Jose. My banger of the day, Heroes by David Bowie. It's a good song.
You play that as an intro from time to time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of these songs I have as bumpers, some I don't. But I don't know. We just kind of go with the feel. Sometimes if I hear a song coming in, whenever I just like have my phone on shuffle, I'm like, you know what, it'd be a good banger for today. So that's where we're at. Today's movie review, we will be doing The Campaign. If you've not seen this movie, it stars Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis. It took place back in 2012, but it is about a fictitious congressional race in North Carolina. But it is a comedy. Obviously, I just told you the name of the people in it, and that's pretty much what they do. So we have. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I usually get to? I just keep adding things to the depot.
Fact of the day, banger of the day. You got a gambling pick later.
Yeah.
No, yeah, this is it.
I think you're good.
You're on the scene.
You got eight
on
minutes for your movie review.
on gambling too. Right now, one of the trends I've been keeping an eye on. Billy Williford initially pointed me to this, but I've really kind of dove in lately. But if you take the lowest under for an NBA game each day, it's like whatever game they set the over under, and it has the lowest of the rest of the NBA games.
Yep.
That's hit 8 days in a row. If you take the under.
The under of the lowest NBA under.
Mm-hmm.
Over under, yeah.
So tonight, I think it'd be like Miami. No, actually, I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can look
Can't
at
get the under low enough, basically, is what you're saying.
I don't know. It's just a trend.
The one night I followed that lead, I lost, and then I was out of the gambling game.
But I told you about the trend like 4 days in a row, and you finally, after like day 3 of like, oh, it hit again, you're like, okay, I'll get in tonight. And that was when it lost. It wasn't like I just randomly told you this, and then you decided that one night I'm going to take it. You waited too long to get into the game. It's not a foolproof plan. It's not going to hit every night. It's if you bet over the long haul, this is
Sir,
what's going
this
to
is a
happen.
casino.
But the campaign. So we got Cam Brady, which is Will Ferrell, and he is the incumbent for his congressional seat. He's going to be running unopposed, but he actually has an incident where recording but basically between him and his mistress, he leaves a voicemail on somebody else's phone. And it's actually a pretty funny scene where Jack McBriar, or might just be Briar, I don't know, I think it's Jack McBriar. Jack McBriar and his family are just sitting there, and Cam Brady gets on the phone. He's like, "Hey, Shayna, Congressman Cam Brady here. Stepping away from a nice family dinner. Say I wish I wasn't eating steak. I wish I was eating," and I can't say the rest. But
old Dave.
But it really gets him into trouble. Jason Sudeikis is Cam Brady's campaign manager, and so he's going through. He's like, "Cam, like we've really got an issue," but it turns out that Marty Huggins, who is played by Zach Galifianakis, he's very nerdy. He's an odd fellow, I guess is a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. But basically, these big-time political backers wanted to find somebody else to run against Cam Brady, and Marty's dad was in politics for a long time, so they're like, "Why don't we get the Huggins boy?" And they're like, "Really?" He's like, "He's kind of weird," but anyway, so they get Marty. And so we go through the plot of the film as we're talking about Marty and Cam going up against each other, but really it's crazy, but it kind of does get into how politics are just really we don't have that intelligent of people running things, and it's just which I agree with. But like some of the funnier parts of the movie. So Cam and Marty are at this luncheon, and as Cam is introducing his opponent, Marty's he's a nice person. He's not expecting it to really be this cutthroat game. And so then Cam takes a shot at Marty really early. And so he asks for Marty to come up, and Marty, tell us a little bit about you. So Marty walks up to the podium, and he's like, "My dad always told me two things about giving speeches. One, never say anything bad about the Jews, and two, tell an interesting story. I have two pugs. One's named Muffins, and one's named Pound Cake. Anyway, Pound Cake loves to get underneath the sofa, and I know exactly why. It's because my wife leaves Milky Way with Hamburger Helper under there. And Muffins is always yapping at him like, 'Don't go underneath the sofa.' And Pound Cake walks in and barks back going, 'Arr!' And then the other one looks at the other one and goes, 'What?' And the other one goes, 'Huh?' And I walk in and go, 'What are y'all two doing?' And every day it's the same thing, just one of them barking about the other one being underneath the sofa. And that's my story. So it's like, this is the type of guy we're dealing with. So
Nailed it.
Yeah. But Cam, like, I mean, you kind of see him going through, like, he just, whenever he's giving a speech, he'll be like, teachers or schools is our future because teachers are this nation's backbone. And then, like, there's a part where he's like, Filipino tilt-to-whirl operators are this nation's backbone. Like, he just kind of has the same generic speech that he just gives throughout. Mm-hmm. But we get to a point, too, where it's like Marty's going at Cam, and Cam is claiming to, really be about his faith, and Marty's like, "You haven't been to church, and I couldn't tell you how long." And so then Marty's like, "Well, wouldn't you all like to hear Cam Brady recite the Lord's Prayer?" And so then, of course, Cam's like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever." So Cam goes, if the media would mind turning off all their recording devices and closing their eyes, because obviously he doesn't want this to get out, but he starts off, here's how he says the Lord's Prayer. "Our Father, Art, who is up in heaven, aloe vera be thy name." And this entire time he's got Jason Sudeikis basically like trying to like motion like signals and stuff to him to where he can kind of get through it. And he's like, "Thy kingdom come, the magic kingdom, as it is on earth in a helicopter. Give us this day our daily," and then of course he's like giving the sign of like eating into pizza, "and let us digest it. Forgive our passes. We forget sometimes on women folk with their it's a nice caboose you got there. Oh, sorry, that's not part of it. I know. Keep your heads bowed, please. Forgive our trespasses and lead us not into the temptations, for we are tired of their music and dancing. And deliver us from evil with your sword and mighty falcon forever and ever. Amen." And so that's like the kind of banter we get going back and forth. Uh-huh. It's just a high quality film all around,
Thumbs up?
Oh, thumb and a half's up.
Thumb and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 2 thumbs. I love that
It's
movie.
a great movie. Yeah.
So how does it end? Like, are you doing that and reviewing?
Oh yeah. So then they end up having the race. Oh, at some point, like Cam Brady punches a baby, and that kind of really knocks him down a couple of points with just everyone that is opposed to baby punching. But
So everyone?
yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But they end up having the race happen, but it's kind of rigged. Again, this is 2012, so it's kind of funny, just for how things are now and how people look at a lot of things in politics. But Cam wins by a rigged election, but he basically forfeits his seat to Marty, and so Marty takes over, and then they end up going for the Motz brothers, and they basically try to really take back America kind of thing. But the plot's not that important. It's just the funny moments in between, really.
Correct it. Great review. Gambling picks for tonight?
Yeah, it said Minnesota moneyline hockey.
That's it?
Yeah, for now, and time to do much NBA.
Yeah, you've been busy all morning.
Thumb and a half. Well, how do you have a half thumb? Well, it's a ratio. Poor ratio.
Like in signs, like that one guy or the alien got like 3 fingers cut off, so that can
You
affect
got
it.
all kind of partial digits.
Yeah.
Singing it.